The city of Pergamon was no ordinary place. High upon its hill stood temples that gleamed in the sun, shrines dedicated to false gods, and monuments that glorified Rome's power. At the very heart of the city, towering over everything else, was a great altar, an altar to Zeus. Its smoke rose into the sky as sacrifices burned, and its shadow loomed over the people. To the world, it was a symbol of glory. But to Christ, it was something far darker. And so in the book of Revelation, Jesus spoke to the church in Pergamon with piercing words. "I know where you live, where Satan has his throne." Imagine hearing that from the lips of the Lord himself. Imagine knowing that the very ground beneath your feet was described as the throne of the enemy. Yet Jesus said it plainly. He saw the darkness that reigned there. He saw the persecution, the deception, and the spiritual strongholds. But why Pergamon? Why there? Pergamon was the cultural crown of Asia Minor. It was filled with idols, temples to Zeus, Athena, Dionysus, and the emperor himself. The altar of Zeus was enormous, a structure that dominated the city like a throne, and surrounding it, emperor worship demanded loyalty. Citizens had to burn incense and declare Caesar is Lord or face death. To Jesus, this wasn't just politics or religion, it was allegiance. The people of Pergamon lived under a system where you either bowed to the empire and its idols, or you risked your life by confessing the name of Christ. It was a battleground of worship. Now pause for a moment and look around our world today. Are we really so different? We may not see the altar of Zeus towering over our cities, but the thrones of Satan have not vanished. They've simply changed their shape. The idols of our age are not carved from stone, but they shine on glowing screens. They do not demand incense, but they demand attention, loyalty, and compromise. The spirit of Pergamon still lives in politics that demand blind allegiance, in religions that twist truth, and in a culture that glorifies sin while mocking holiness. And Jesus still sees it all. He says to us today what he said to them then, "I know where you live." He knows the darkness that surrounds you. He knows the pressure to bow, to compromise, to stay silent about your faith. He knows the seductive voice of the world that says, just give in, just go along, just bow at the throne of Satan, and you'll have peace. But in Pergamon, there were faithful ones who refused. Jesus reminded them of Antipas, his faithful witness, who was killed among them where Satan dwelled. Antipas would not bow, he would not compromise. He stood for the truth of Christ, and he paid with his life. Now let me ask you, friend, if Jesus looked at your city, your country, your home, would he say the same words? Would he point and declare, "I know where you live, where Satan has his throne"? Look at the corruption in government. Look at the false gospels preached in glittering arenas. Look at the immorality celebrated in media, the violence, the pride, the rebellion against God. Look at the rising tide of persecution against Christians worldwide. Can we not see it? Thrones of Satan are being built in plain sight. And just like Pergamon, the question is one of allegiance. Who will you bow to? Will you remain faithful to Christ, or will you be swept away by the pressure of this world? The Bible warns us, the dragon gives his throne and authority to the beast. A counterfeit kingdom is rising. Satan seeks worship, always has, always will. Pergamon was just a shadow of the greater throne the enemy is preparing in these last days. Revelation tells us the Antichrist will demand global allegiance. He will sit on a throne built on deception, and the nations will bow. But here's the hope. Jesus sees, Jesus knows, and Jesus promises a reward. To the faithful in Pergamon, he said, "To the one who is victorious, I will give some of the hidden manna. I will also give that person a white stone with a new name written on it, known only to the one who receives it." Do you hear that? Hidden manna, heavenly bread for those who refuse the table of idols, a white stone, a symbol of acceptance, of eternal belonging in Christ's kingdom, a new name written by God himself, declaring you are his forever. So while Satan builds his thrones on earth, Jesus builds his kingdom in heaven. While Pergamon was filled with idols that rotted away, Christ was preparing eternal treasures for his faithful ones, and that promise is for us today. But here is the warning. Satan's throne is not always obvious. It may look like progress, prosperity, or peace. Pergamon was admired for its culture, knowledge, and beauty, yet Jesus saw the truth. Behind the glitter stood the throne of the enemy. Likewise, today's false lights, political saviors, prosperity preachers, global unity movements may look good, but they hide the same darkness. Do not be deceived. The world will promise you peace if you bow. It will promise you wealth if you compromise. It will promise you acceptance if you stay silent. But Jesus asks, will you remain faithful even where Satan dwells? Remember Antipas, remember Pergamon. Remember that Christ himself walked among the lampstands, holding the churches in his hand, reminding them and us that no throne of Satan can stand against his kingdom. So I ask you tonight, where do you live? Do you live in a place of compromise, bowing to the thrones of this world, or do you live at the feet of Christ, where true life is found? The day is coming when Satan will establish his throne openly through the Antichrist and demand worship from all the earth. The choice will be clear: take the mark and bow, or refuse and suffer. But even now the choice is already before us. Whose throne will you serve? Jesus sees where you live. He knows the pressure, he knows the trials. But he also promises strength to those who hold fast to his name. So hold fast. Do not bow to Satan's throne. Do not compromise your faith. Remember, the Lamb has already overcome, and his kingdom has no end. If this message has stirred your heart, don't keep it to yourself. Share this with others, because many are blind to the thrones being built around them. Like this message, if you believe Jesus is still Lord over all, and subscribe to Truth and Grace Network so that more people can be warned, encouraged, and equipped in these last days. Pergamon's story is not just history, it is prophecy. Jesus said, I know where you live, where Satan has his throne. And those words echo today, in our cities, in our nations, in our culture. The throne of Satan may rise, but the throne of Christ will reign forever. So I ask you one final question. When the thrones are revealed, where will you stand? At the foot of Satan's altar, or before the Lamb whose throne endures for all eternity?